The field has already been crossed once, not by tracks that run in straight lines, but by scattered impressions that begin, stop, shift direction, and disappear. There are no signs of sustained pursuit, no drag marks, no clear chase sequence. Instead, there are punctures in the snow at irregular intervals, each deeper than the surrounding steps. A fox moves through this space without urgency. It does not follow a continuous trail. It pauses often. It stands still longer than it walks. Its head lowers slightly, then lifts again, adjusting position by small increments. Movement is minimal, but attention is concentrated. The behavior is not organized around covering distance, but around evaluating what is not visible. Beneath the surface, the field is active. Small mammals move within insulated tunnels, formed between the ground and the snow layer above. These tunnels are not random. They follow habitual routes, shaped by repeated use, connecting feeding points and shelter. From above, these paths cannot be seen directly, but they produce subtle structural differences, variations in density, slight depressions, faint acoustic signatures. The fox does not attempt to expose these tunnels by digging along their length. That would require time and energy with uncertain return. Instead, it selects specific points and commits fully to brief, concentrated actions. The vertical leap emerges from this constraint. From a stationary position, the fox aligns its body, then launches upward and forward in a steep arc. The trajectory is not designed for distance, but for penetration. It lands headfirst, breaking through the snow layer, with its forelimbs and snout, compressing the space beneath. This movement is repeated across the field, but not continuously. Each leap is preceded by stillness. The pause is not passive. While stationary, the fox is sampling information that is limited and indirect. Sound travels differently through snow. It is dampened, but also channeled. Movements beneath the surface produce faint vibrations that can be localized, but only within a narrow margin of accuracy. The fox adjusts its position incrementally, refining alignment before committing to the leap. The cost of each attempt is high relative to its duration. A vertical pounce requires rapid acceleration, precise coordination, and immediate recovery. If the target is missed, the fox must extract itself from the snow, reorient, and reassess. Repeated failures increase energy expenditure without guarantee of success. In winter conditions, where energy reserves are critical, this cost cannot accumulate without consequence. The behavior persists because it remains viable under these constraints. Alternatives are limited. Digging along the surface to expose tunnels would increase the chance of encountering prey, but it would also increase exposure time and energy use. The snow layer acts as both barrier and protection. Breaking it gradually reduces its insulating structure, altering the environment in ways that may disperse prey rather than concentrate it. Chasing is not available as a strategy. Prey beneath the snow is not accessible through speed. The tunnel network constrains movement, and any disturbance above can cause rapid shifts in direction below. A surface pursuit cannot track these changes accurately. The fox cannot rely on continuous tracking once the prey is out of sight. The vertical leap compresses uncertainty into a single moment. Instead of extending effort over time, the fox concentrates effort into discrete attempts. Each leap is a high-risk, high-resolution action. It converts uncertain, distributed information into a single point of contact. Either the alignment is sufficient, or it is not. There is no gradual correction during the movement itself. This pattern reduces prolonged energy loss. Periods of stillness consume minimal energy. Movement is limited to short adjustments. The majority of expenditure occurs during the leap, which is brief. Even if several attempts fail, the total energy cost remains, bounded by these short bursts rather than extended activity. The spacing between attempts reflects this balance. The fox does not leap at regular intervals. It moves, pauses, listens, adjusts, and only then commits. In some areas, it may take multiple leaps in close proximity, suggesting a higher density of underlying activity. In others, it may pass through without attempting at all. This variation is not random. It reflects a continuous evaluation of signal strength and reliability. Weak or inconsistent cues do not trigger action. Stronger cues narrow the margin of uncertainty, enough to justify the cost of a leap. The fox is not maximizing the number of attempts, but the expected return per attempt. The snow itself plays a dual role. It conceals prey, but it also structures their movement. The tunnel layer forms a predictable interface between the ground and the open air, while the exact position of an animal within this layer is uncertain. The range of possible positions is constrained by the thickness and consistency of the snowpack. The Fox's leap is calibrated to this structure. The angle and force are sufficient to penetrate the snow layer and reach the tunnel space beneath, but not so excessive as to waste energy or risk injury. The movement is repeatable because the environment is stable enough to support consistent outcomes. Over time, this behavior shapes the landscape. Clusters of puncture marks appear where the fox has attempted multiple strikes. Some are successful, others not. The distribution of these marks reflects areas where underlying activity is concentrated. The fox is not mapping the field explicitly, but its repeated interactions produce a record of where effort has been invested. These patterns are temporary. Snowfall can erase them, resetting the surface. New tunnels form, old ones collapse. The fox returns to the same field under different conditions, with different distributions of prey activity. The behavior does not depend on fixed locations, but on the ability to interpret current conditions. The vertical leap remains effective, because it adapts to variability without requiring complete information. It does not require the fox to know exactly where the prey is. It requires only enough information to reduce uncertainty to a manageable level. The rest is resolved through the physical interaction of the leap itself. There is no continuous refinement during the action. Once initiated, the movement is committed. The fox cannot adjust mid-air based on new information. This constraint reinforces the importance of the preceding stillness. The accuracy of the leap depends entirely on the quality of information gathered before movement begins. Failures are integrated into the process. A missed leap does not produce immediate abandonment of the area. The fox may attempt again nearby, suggesting that the initial signal was sufficient to justify multiple attempts. Alternatively, it may move on quickly, indicating that the signal was weak or inconsistent. This flexibility maintains overall efficiency. The fox does not persist indefinitely in one location, nor does it abandon areas after a single failure. It adjusts based on feedback, but within limits that prevent excessive energy loss. The behavior is stable across repeated use, because it aligns with the constraints of the environment. Snow-covered fields limit visibility, restrict access, and alter the distribution of prey. The vertical leap addresses these constraints by concentrating effort, minimizing exposure, and exploiting the structural properties of the snow layer. It is not a generalized hunting method. In environments without a snow layer, this behavior is not observed in the same form. The constraints that make it viable are absent. The fox uses different strategies, where continuous tracking or direct pursuit is possible. Here, the field remains quiet. The fox continues to move through it in short sequences: walk, pause, adjust, leap. Each action is separated by stillness, each decision based on limited but sufficient information. The pattern repeats, not in fixed intervals, but in response to the conditions beneath the surface. The punctures in the snow accumulate, then disappear with time. The behavior continues without requiring permanence. It functions as long as the constraints remain, adapting to changes in the field, without needing to alter its fundamental structure.